Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, guys, we are going to be reacting to the King of the Fourth Quarters 2022 NBA All-Star Ballot. So, Kenny is, one of the most obviously, knowledgeable dudes when it comes to the NBA community. This dude watch every damn game, man. This guy's got, 3-4 TV setups and stuff like that. So, it's pretty cool. It's always nice to hear his opinions and stuff like that. We have his video up over there, and then on my screen I put this tier thing to keep track of it and everything like that, just to prove that that's me and not Kenny. Like Kenny would never do this. He would never do that, man. So, or would he? I guess we have to find out on the video. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get going on this.
What's the word, y'all? Welcome back, man. All-Star 2022 is around the corner. It's a little over a month away.
Was February?
Start talking about
it's in Cleveland too, I think.
All-Star Ballot. And man, I spent the last couple days doing this. It is not easy, man. It's only 24 spots, 12 in each conference. But I'm here to talk about it, man. I'm here to talk about it and give you my own personal ballot. At the end of the day, I'm not predicting who I think will be in it. This is if I had a vote, which I do not. These are the 12 people in the East and the 12 people in the West.
Yeah, you're going to make people angry no matter what.
For me,
to be honest,
this is a fluid thing. You know what I'm saying? This is hard, man. I spent the last couple days, and some of these people aren't set in stone. Some people might have the ability to play themselves into my 12 spots in the next month or so. But as of right now, these will be my All-Stars. This video, I wanted to feel more of a podcast more than just a normal video of mine. So if you're one of the people that only care about who I have, I'm sure there's somebody that watched this entire video that will put it in the comment section. But for the people that's going to stick around and watch the whole video and just listen to me ramble about basketball and All-Star appearances,
let's hear it. That's what I'm here for.
To leave a like. Now, All-Star 2022
That's what I'm here for.
I've never been to Cleveland, but I will be in that joint. In 2020, before the world shut down, Bleacher Report put together this entire event.
Yo, should I go to
open to the public, where we had live shows.
Too far away.
We had a performance from Quavo and a bunch of different rappers and stuff. It was open to the public, and they're thinking about doing it again this year. I don't really know if this is public knowledge or not. But
it is now.
We're not completely sure if it will be open to the public because of the virus stuff. But I will say, if you're going to be in the Cleveland area, an All-Star weekend, even if you're not going to any of the festivities, but you're in Cleveland, follow me on socials, man. We might have a live podcast. You might be able to meet me and all of that stuff. And I'm always
about to pull up to Cleveland, man.
Welcoming to me.
Only a few hours away
in Cleveland. Hopefully y'all nice to us. Hopefully the weather is not absolutely dreadful.
Okay, it will be.
So now to my list. All right. There are a few things that really bother me about the All-Star Ballot. The first one is that there's only 12 spots.
Yep.
It's been 12 spots for the entirety of basketball.
Should be positionless
too.
It's
evolved to the point now where it's 15 players to the roster, and I would like for the All-Star game to be 15v15. It will just make it my job as making a ballot a lot easier because listen, I got my 12 people that I have on the actual team, and in Eastern Conference I got 6 names that are not in the game that deserve love. There's so many people playing at an All-Star caliber level. There's going to be a lot of snubs, and I apologize. It's just the way things work. So if you had a 15-man roster, boom, it's a lot easier. But even then,
a lot of
3
snubs.
more spots, which means that there's 3 more people on the outside looking at it. It's hard. It's going to be hard. Your favorite player might get snubbed. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Luke
The other thing, I wish it was positionless.
Hey, thank you. Yes.
Why they have positions.
Definitely.
They don't want it. We're talking about a league that for a long time was very guard heavy, and they didn't.
Give me Giannis, LeBron, KD, and a point guard and a shooting guard. They can actually do that, I guess. Oh, okay. I guess it's better. You don't have to have a center now. Okay, well, okay, never mind.
The All-Star game to be 10 people on the court that is 6'5" and under, or 6'6" and under.
There we go.
I understand why positions are a thing, but it pigeonholed
KAT,
so
Jokic,
much, especially in
Gobert,
the Eastern Conference.
Vucevic,
there are not a ton
DeRozan.
of Eastern Conference forwards that deserve to be in there, but there are a ton of guards that are playing All-Star level. So some of the guards that didn't make it, I would rather have than some of the forwards, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, y'all. And the last
Bruce
thing
Almighty
is that I wish it wasn't East versus West anymore because we don't even play East versus West. You know what I'm saying? What if the Eastern Conference have 15 people that deserve it and the Western Conference only got 10? What am I supposed to do?
Do you guys think they should get rid of conferences? I don't know. I'm still kind of Teams have been screwed for years because of conferences, going back to forever.
So those are my gripes. And I know that's not an easy fix or something that they may never change, but I'm just saying it made my job here a lot harder to do.
If anyone would change it, would be Silver.
Because there's only 12 people and because it's East versus West. We do the whole draft thing anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so why don't we just open it up? All right, it's not like they plan for nothing. It's not like, I think it's baseball, right? Baseball plays the All-Star game, and whoever wins that gets home court advantage in the World Series.
Which is crazy.
For anything, are we?
Which is crazy.
It's not even no incentive. Well, some people have contract incentives to be an All-Star, but whatever. Okay, so this is the way things are going to go.
All right, let's hear it.
I'm going to announce some of my starters. We're going to talk about them and give them the reasons why they are my starters. Let's talk about the Eastern Conference, because honestly, the Eastern Conference was a lot harder to do than the Western Conference. And you know what? And I think that's because the Eastern Conference is the better conference right now, at least when it comes to the way teams are winning and losing and things like that. The Eastern Conference is better, which just means that they might have more talent.
Maybe
nowadays.
top heavy.
I'm
top
gonna
heavy.
say my criteria wasn't as strict this year as it was in previous seasons, because we have health and safety protocols and we have injuries like that. I used to be a guy that's like, this player's missing this many games, so because of that, he might not get the nod. But it just feels like everybody's missing time because everybody's gonna catch this damn virus in the
I feel like I agree with him in that. I have like a small exception. Like if there's like a dude that like was putting up great numbers but has played like 10 games versus another person that's played like 40 games and put up great numbers, I'm probably gonna lean more towards the 40 guy. But I get what he's saying though. I get what he's saying. Like it shouldn't be a huge factor.
NBA. If you are a player that plays all 82 games this season, the
what
CDC
camera does
needs
Kenny have?
to take
You
your
give me a nice
blood
camera
and just
like that.
inject it in everybody else's veins, because you are the
Use a
antibody
webcam.
to every single virus. It just seems inevitable that every player is going to catch this thing. So pretty much everybody that I have on my list has missed some time with health and safety protocol. So it is what it is. But I will say there are players that aren't on my list because they have been injured for a long time. Prime example of this is Bam Adebayo. He's missed over half the season right now. Some of that with health safety protocol, and some of that is just him being out with a legitimate injury. In the Western Conference, Anthony Davis is going to miss a significant amount of time, and he will be back before the All-Star game. But in between, he's going to miss so many games.
Right. What about like Paul George too?
Anthony Davis is not a player that's having an amazing season, but the counting stats is there. If we're just going on counting stats, Anthony Davis deserves some type of recognition. But the fact that he will be injured and miss so much time, it's a little bit difficult. And there's certain players that are similar to that as well that are right now injured, and we're gonna cross that bridge once we get there. All right,
let's
I know
hear
I'm
it.
rambling.
Let's hear it.
The All-Star starting guard number 1 is DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
I hate the fact that the NBA has him as a guard. It makes things
Same.
so much more difficult, because this is a spot that I wish I can give to somebody else that was snubbed. DeMar DeRozan has not played guard for the Chicago Bulls this season. Sure, he's been a playmaker. Sure, he brings the ball up the court every once in a while.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
He has been a small forward and a power forward. That is where he has played this entire year. So the fact
on
that
the
the NBA
Spurs.
is still looking
And
at
on the
DeMar
Spurs.
DeRozan like he's on the Toronto Raptors is wild to me, because it's not just a Chicago Bulls thing. This man ain't played guard in years. If you look at his position data for
Power
his entire
forward.
time of the San Antonio Spurs, he was playing small forward and power forward. Even 2K last year changed this man's position to power forward. He has been a forward for the last 4 or 5 years. But I guess since he was under the radar with the San Antonio Spurs and nobody's really watching him,
But the NBA should know. The NBA should
so
know.
he has to start at the guard position, which again just takes away a position, because there's one Eastern Conference forward on my bench that I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be there, because everybody that is in the conversation deserves to be there. But there is a guy that got snubbed that I think deserves it more, but he's a guard. And DeMar DeRozan, I think that is a lock. He should be a lock on everybody's Eastern Conference
MVP
because he has been playing to that level. Also, what I noticed when I was creating these lists is I'm a guy that doesn't really look at the legacy of a player when I'm thinking about the All-Star appearance often. Because there are some people that are perennial All-Stars that have been All-Stars for 7, 8 years, 9 years that might not be an All-Star.
Yeah, and that one's tough. Like that's like a reason why a lot of people like hate on everybody's like All-Star list. Like, how do you not have Russell Westbrook as an All-Star starter? It's like, this ain't Russell Westbrook from 5 years ago. This is like a completely different like type of player and stuff. There's guys that like deserve it more. I don't know why I'm roasting Russell so much in this video, but that's a good example. I think that's a good example though.
So this year, because I think that some people that might be younger are playing better than them. And honestly, I think that's the way it should be. I think we should be able to excommunicate somebody's past.
That's why I had
talking
John Morant
about a
over CP3.
2022 All-Star. I don't give a damn what he did in 2020 or the 2019-2020 season or 2018-2019. That shouldn't be super relevant. We're
100%.
talking about this season.
100%.
These are All-Stars, especially when you talk about contract incentives and stuff. This is not some let's just pencil a guy in because of this. No, he has to deserve it. DeMar DeRozan deserves it. The next guard position was between two people, and I will say,
Okay.
I'm not a guy that cares too much about who's the starter versus who's coming off the bench.
Trae or LaMelo?
I know that it matters in the sense that when you get to like the draft, I guess it matters a little bit more, because I think they draft starters and then they draft reserves. I don't really watch the All-Star draft. I watched it the first year, and that was pretty much it. I watched the highlights of that. And only thing it matters deeper than that is like you get an extra 2 minutes on TV in the announcements. But if you look at anybody's basketball reference that's ever been an all-star, it doesn't say 7-time starter, 3-time reserve. If you're an all-star, you're an all-star.
That's a good point.
So I think about that, and I will say that Trae Young is my second guard. You're like Kenny.
That's what I got.
DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine.
That's what I got.
One team in the Eastern Conference. They're both averaging some crazy statistics. You're absolutely right. But I don't want people saying that I'm biased, so I'm giving it to Trae Young. I love some Zach LaVine, but as long as Zach LaVine is in the game, I don't really care who's starting, who's coming off the bench. But Trae Young in himself, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it more than Zach LaVine. I think they're similar tiers. Trae Young has been on an absolute tear. If you look at his game log over the past 10 or so games, there's not any dookie.
Even on this
sometimes
list?
players just have dookie games.
Right there.
Like the other day, Steph Curry had 9 total points. That's a dookie game for an MVP candidate. Trae Young don't have those. Even in the loss the other night, he had 56 points or 54 points or whatever it is.
He is the Hawks.
I know that the team hasn't been great, and that was his big knock last season. But this year's so much different than I took into consideration the standings a little bit less, or maybe a lot less than I would in previous seasons.
Trae Young, the new Damian Lillard.
Every single team is going through health and safety protocol, and every single team might have 2 to 3 more losses on their record that they wouldn't have if they were close to fully healthy. And yes, the Atlanta Hawks are struggling, and they've been dealing with health and safety protocol. Defense ain't looked as great because Clint Capella ain't looked that great. They was going ham at the Rooster Gallinari with the Portland Trailblazers regardless.
I want to see a Conklin start, to be honest.
Because he was putting up good counting stats on the bad
team.
Give me
Mari Stoudemire vibes.
I mean, slightly better at this point than they were last year, but it doesn't really matter too much to me. He gets the nod at the all-star point guard spot starting. The next 3 are locks to me. I don't need to give you why Kevin Durant deserves to be an all-star starter, or why Giannis deserves to be an all-star starter, or why Joel Embiid deserves to be an all-star starter. Those 3.
I, for a hot second, had Jason Tatum as the starter, but I was quickly convinced otherwise, and I made the change to mine. So, yeah, I took the L on that one already.
Absolute locks, in my opinion. Who do I think is going to be the captain? I would guess is going to be Giannis again. I think Giannis had it last year, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe even a year before that. But Kevin Durant might get – actually, no. KD had it last year because I remember him – he was sitting in his apartment. I remember it was Kevin Durant. So I don't know who deserves to be the captain. It doesn't matter too much. It's between KD and Giannis.
I want to give it
Maybe it's going to be KD because he might get more fan votes. But that is my Eastern Conference.
Just because why not?
I don't think there's anything too controversial now. I think the most controversial thing might be saying that Trae Young over Zach LaVine. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because my first guard off my bench is Zach LaVine.
There we go.
Honestly, if we were going to get rid of positions, I think it matters the most when it comes to the reserves. Because there's only 2 guard reserves and there's 3 forward reserves. And again, in the Eastern Conference, there's not a lot of forwards that I think deserve to get a ton of love. And then when you get to the wild card spots, those 2 places don't have positions. So I can have 2 centers. I can have 2 forwards or 2 guards. It don't really matter. But Zach LaVine, I don't need to give you the argument. Zach LaVine is putting up crazy efficiency again for the second year in a row and averaging 25-plus points per game. He's one of the few people in the league that are shooting 40% from 3 on like 8 attempts or something crazy like that. Zach LaVine is an absolute stud. He's
been that guy.
About it. He's a lock on my bench, and some people might have him starting, which I respect too. Number 2 is a player that started off and people were saying that this guy's washed. Ooh. You remember the James Harden is washed narrative that was the first month and a half or 2 months of the season. Since then, he's had a couple 30 pieces. He's had a couple triple doubles that are really good.
I think I had James Harden as one of my reserves, but knowing there's only 2 guard spots though, it definitely makes it difficult.
For the most part, he looks close to. I would like some people are going full and saying that he looks just like the old James Harden. I wouldn't go that far, but he looks like 86% of what James Harden normally is, and that is enough for him to be an all-star in the Eastern Conference. He's still on one of the best teams in the conference. And
he's looking like second option James Harden, which is okay what he needs to be.
Against other teams. Next, we get to the forwards.
4 of those?
My first forward was Jimmy Butler.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Jimmy Butler hurt his ankle a couple nights ago, and he had already missed a bunch of time with a buttocks injury, like a tailbone injury. I'm going to just say buttocks. It's a lot more fun to say. And I don't know what's going on with that ankle, at least as I'm recording this video. Maybe more stuff has come out after I'm recording this video. Because of that, I think that we might need an injury replacement guy. We'll talk about that once we get there. It is super unfortunate that Jaylen Brown is a guard and not a guard/forward. So if we're going to have positions, I know it would get kind of murky if we have players that are guards and forwards, but Jaylen Brown deserves to be a forward on this list, but he's not. And because of that, you might understand why I'm going next with like Jaylen Brown got snubbed off of my list because he's a guard, and I can't look at the guards that I have above him and say he deserves it more. Now, his teammate, Jason Tatum, is on here, but if I had to pick between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I probably would put Jaylen Brown on my team. But Tatum is a forward, and I'm a forward. So Jason Tatum's on the list. Now, again, Jason Tatum's not having a bad season. He might be less efficient than he was in previous years, but he's still having an all-star caliber season. But this is a team that doesn't deserve to have 2 all-stars because they have.
That's what I was just going to say.
So I gave the nod to Jason Tatum over anybody else.
I think I have the same thing.
Or I guess maybe not my last, but my third forward off the bench is the Fro, Jared Allen, man.
There we go.
Is the Fro Jared Allen. I don't really know how to explain how great of a player Jared Allen
Good Cleveland representation.
Because everybody knew for the entirety of Jared Allen's career, he has been a lob threat. And I know there are some people that still look at Jared Allen as strictly a lob threat, but he is so much more. I've watched so many Cavs games this season, and I feel like I'm getting more and more impressed with his footwork down below. Yes, he is spoon-fed, but that's about him being in good positions and everything. His footwork is getting better and better and better. So I had to give him that nod. He's one of the best defensive centers in the entire league. The Cleveland Cavaliers have one of the best defensive teams in the league, and a lot of that is him, and a lot of that is the rookie Evan Mobley, but I'm giving him the nod over any of the other forwards on the team because I think he deserves it more, man. So those are my 10 players in the Eastern Conference. Now let's get to my wild cards because, well...
Oh, wait, so 10 players, okay. Yeah, I thought it was 12. We got wild cards.
It might get kind of wild, and we're going to have a fluid conversation here.
Here we go.
I made a tweet earlier today where I put hashtag NBA All-Star, hashtag Fred VanVleet.
Hey,
and
okay, I like it.
The reaction was exactly what I expected. Raptors fans like, yeah, Kenny, you the man. And I wasn't trying to.
Raptor fans be crazy though. Like I did like a reaction to like my NBA NBA draft or whatever from last season. Talk about like Scotty Barnes or whatever, and the entire comment section was just Raptor fans. Like they are a passionate fan base.
To pander to Raptors fans, I actually think he deserves to be there, and I'm putting him there. And then there's another portion of the replies is like, Kenny, you're bugging. And I don't think I am. Again, this is my ballot.
Extremely underrated.
I personally do not believe that Fred VanVleet will make the All-Star appearance or make an All-Star appearance. But if I was given a ballot, I would have him on there. He is averaging 20 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6.7 assists. He's shooting 40% from 3 on 9 attempts. And the advanced stats absolutely love Fred VanVleet. Here's a challenge for you. Watch minutes of the Raptors when Fred VanVleet is not on the floor against a competent team. It is going to be dreadful. There's a reason why he's close to leading
they got backup
top
point guard
3 or whatever it is in minutes played. Because when he is off the floor, the Raptors don't stand a chance. He is their all-star, and he's putting up all-star statistics. In my opinion, he deserves to be in there. As I said earlier, I don't care about legacies and things like that. And personally, I do like to see new players get all-star nods. And Fred VanVleet is one of those dudes. I was doing a video a couple days ago, and we were talking about people that were giving their bad takes that over the last 3 to 5 years. And there's a Raptors fan that was like, I didn't think that Fred VanVleet will ever get to the point where he was a legitimate point guard. And he has got to that
I was
point.
waiting for it.
There's been a lot of progression in Fred VanVleet's career as far as being an off-ball guy for Kyle Lowry and just being a guy that can go out and get you buckets to now being a guy that is one of the elite playmakers in the league.
Yeah, I was like big on like the idea of trading Kyle Lowry for a while, just because that whole it's like the reins of the team were like ready to be handed over to Fred VanVleet, but it's like obviously it worked out, got a championship with Kawhi and everything, so
I'm giving him my first wild card spot, and yes, it is maybe wild, and maybe I'm living up to that, but he deserves.
Hey, I think you defended it perfectly. So
is Darius Garland?
Hey, yes,
we're gonna talk about snubs. I promise you. But Darius Garland is averaging 19 points per game, 3 rebounds, 7.3 assists. He's shooting 38% from 3 on 7 attempts. His case is very similar to Fred VanVleet's. When he is not on the court, the team looks terrible.
I'm looking at like wild card snubs, and it's like I think Cleveland and just how they've been, they deserve 2 All-Stars. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I'm okay with Darius over Jaylen Brown. The Pacers are not great, so yeah, I don't think the Pacers deserve any. The only one, maybe LaMelo, but like I'm okay with that too. Like I like Darius Garland also, so I'm cool with him over LaMelo.
Watch the Cavaliers when they got Kevin Pankos or whatever the hell his name is, or they got I guess Brandon Goodwin.
Yo, I think of
the
stuff you put on like chicken or whatever
to
make it crispy.
It would have felt weird for me to put Jared Allen in the All-Star game and not Darius Garland, because that would be like putting DeAndre Jordan in the All-Star game and not Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? Those two guys work in tandem, and I think they deserve to be there together. Okay, now let's talk about the snubs, because there are a bunch. I already mentioned that Jaylen Brown is a snub. He just had a fucking He said a 50 piece. I'm sorry, this is not the channel where I talk like that. I thought I was in my. It feels like I'm on a podcast right now. I'm sorry.
Hey,
on
it's
the
all
podcast,
good.
we kind of got no filter. He just dropped a 50 piece. It feels weird to have him snub, but there's a team that I don't think deserve to have two. They do not deserve
you said
to have
Jaylen
two.
Brown?
And I had to pick between Tatum and Brown. And since Brown is a guard, I couldn't put him in the wild card spot because now that leaves a forward spot. It's a lot of weird stuff here. Now, again, with Jimmy Butler being out with his injury and maybe being out with his injury, who gets the nod at the forward position? Well, you can make an argument. You can make an argument for Chris Middleton, but he's been up and down. And I would feel weird if Chris Middleton was in the All-Star game because I think Drew Holiday deserves it better, and he's one of my snubs. Who else is in the forward position that might deserve to get a little bit of love here? You can say Miles Bridges, maybe. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about injury replacements, but it would feel weird for him to be an injury replacement if LaMelo not in it. I think LaMelo might make it over Fred VanVleet, honestly. But like the forward position is weird.
Yeah,
man.
just out of
The forward
popularness.
position is definitely weird.
Be
Like
honest.
maybe Sabonis. Sabonis is a guy that maybe deserves a little bit of love. I don't think Julius Randle gets a lot of love this season. I just don't think. I think that with the Knicks losing more than they were last year and him not living up to his standards, I don't think he deserves it.
That's how I feel about Sabonis.
Deserves it just a little bit more because he is the focal point of that offense and everything. But maybe he is the injury replacement. John Collins is a guy, but you can argue that the Atlanta Hawks don't deserve two because they're not even in the play-in right now. So I don't know.
Not even the play-in?
Another
Damn.
guy that is snubbed is Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday, all the advanced stats absolutely love him. And when I know that
he's gonna be snubbed from the list,
out, which makes sense. Donovan one of the best players in the world right now, so of course they're gonna struggle when he was out. But I remember that Drew Holiday was stepping back up and looking great. The defense is still elite, and all the advanced stats love Drew Holiday. I felt weird about not having two All-Stars for the Bucks. So maybe that's another case for Drew Holiday just to be in there because the team is so elite. If I'm looking at the standings right now, I got two Bulls players, and this wasn't by design, by the way. I got two Bulls players, I got two Nets players, and
look up the standings.
The Bucks are right there on the same tier as them. So it feel weird to just have Giannis in itself, but I just couldn't find a place for Drew Holiday. He deserves to be there, but again, there's only 12 roster spots. LaMelo is probably my biggest snub. Oh no, you know what? There's two really big snubs. LaMelo is a big snub. He is super entertaining to watch.
Tyler Hero?
He is super good at what he does. But you can make an argument for him over DG, but I just feel like when DG doesn't play, Darius Garland doesn't play, the Cavaliers don't stand a chance to play or chance to win. I think that the Hornets could still potentially win some games when LaMelo is not there.
Man, Scary Terry going off.
They haven't, but I vividly know that Darius Garland missed 3 games, and they lost all 3 of those games, and it was bad. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to fun and exciting, and that's what the All-Star game is about, I think LaMelo is a guy that should be in there. It's just hard for me to put him on my personal ballot. But if you have him there, I completely understand. And then, actually, I know I said this for a few people, but Bradley Beal.
Oh, okay.
Bradley Beal might be the biggest snub because he started off very slow. Even though the team was very successful at the beginning, Bradley Beal completely started off slow. But if you look at his stats over the last month, it's hard for me to say he don't deserve to be there. He definitely deserves to be there, especially now.
Which is kind of like a weird thing because the Wizards started off so hot and like that was when Beal was playing bad, but now he's playing a bit better and like they're not. I mean, they're a 500 team still, I guess, but. It's like when Bradley got better, the team like wasn't winning as much. In the last couple games,
he's been point Beal.
A lot of reasons for that.
I think they were calling him vaxxed up Beal because since he got the vaccine, he's been killing the game. I can't. This is what makes the All-Star bad because I will.
I'm okay with Beal not being there.
How do I want to word this? I can't say that Garland or Fred VanVleet deserve it more than Beal, than LaMelo, than Drew Holiday. But I'm going to say on my ballot, I want to see them there. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
There's not a big argument for like
I love Darius
Bradley
Garland.
Beal not making it because his counting stats are coming around in the last month or so. You can make the argument that it's a full season and you need to perform for more than just a month. I don't know. But I think Bradley Beal has the potential to play himself into the real game. If he continues to play like this, right? If he continues to play like this for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
What's being put up?
I don't see a world where he doesn't actually make the All-Star game. I just don't. He's a guy that was averaging 35 points per game. Like, did he make the All-Star game last season? Oh, my God. Because I remember that there was a conversation about whether Bradley Beal deserved to even be there. He was leading the league in scoring, but the team was god-awful. He did make it last year. But the year before that, he did it when he averaged 30. That was the year. He averaged 30 the year before that and didn't make it. But last year, the world was like, I guess team record don't matter. So the Eastern Conference is interesting. It's hard. These are my ballots.
I like his picks.
You can even tell
Nothing
I'm having
against him.
second thoughts about some of the picks, but it's a fluid conversation, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very fluid conversation.
Yeah, as
So
long as
that
you
is
can
my
defend
Eastern
why you
Conference.
pick certain
I'm
players.
looking at the standings right now. There are other Kyle Lowry. I know his counting stats are trash. He can't hit a shot. But the Miami Heat were missing Bam and Jimmy Butler for a very long time. And though Kyle Lowry wasn't like the leading scorer of this team that was still good, he was the quarterback. He was the guy that was on the court telling people where to be, still drawing a lot of charges.
Yeah, I could make a case for Hero
He
on
deserves
the
some
for the
recognition
Heat.
at least. But I think I gave all the notes to people that deserved it. Let's go to the Western Conference.
Let's get it.
Because the Western Conference starter situation is a little bit more difficult than the Eastern Conference. I'm going to start off with the absolute locks, and lock number 1 is Stephen Curry. Don't need to tell you why. Lock number 2 is LeBron James. I don't need to tell you why. Lock number 3 is Nikola Jokic. Those are my locks in the starter position. Other than that, I got to think about my other guard. I got to think about my other forward. And you know what? There are two people. I basically flipped the coin between these two people.
I think I had Devin Booker, and I ended up going with Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert is overhated, and I don't know, man. I think I also had Donovan Mitchell, I think, too. I don't know. I wanted some sort of Jazz representation. But this was also like 2 weeks ago that I did it, so maybe it's changed.
Who deserved to come off the bench. And the starter that came up was Donovan Mitchell. He just won Player of the Month. He's been having an amazing season. Now, I don't know if the counting stats say he's better this year than he was last year, but when I watch him play this year, he feels better than what he was last year. I know for sure that, like, in the previous years of Donovan Mitchell's career, he struggled to finish at the rim and have that little floater game. And this year he's doing that to like a little above league average, which is great considering before that he was towards the bottom of the league for that type of volume. So the fact that he's got that added to his bag just makes him and the team more dynamic. We're talking about the number 1 offense in the league by an absolute mile, and Donovan Mitchell is the focal point of that offense. So I flipped the coin between him and another guy we're going to talk about, and Donovan Mitchell got the nod. Shout out to Dono. And then the other starter spot for the Western Conference starters was it was a bit tough, man. We talk about a forward here. I ended up giving it to Draymond Green.
Oh, okay.
Does he have the best raw stats? Hell no.
Hey, nothing against that.
And ain't nobody else on my list that got counting stats worse than Draymond Green. But I gave him the all-star starter nod. I understand if you don't have him as a starter, completely understand. But as an all-star player, Draymond Green, in my opinion, is an absolute lock. He is the defensive player of the year by a mile this season. He is the on-court coach for the best team in the league right now. Well, let's see. Do they still have the best record? The best team in the league, record-wise. He is the on-court coach for that. And the team struggles when he's not there. I mean, what can I say? Draymond Green deserves to be an all-star.
Yeah, and that's like why mine got kind of like... Because I wanted Jazz representation, I wanted Suns representation, and then obviously Steph Curry with the Warriors and stuff like that. Because by having the Suns, it's like, okay, I had to pick between like CP3 or Devin Booker. I went with Devin Booker, and it's like, well, I still need a Jazz on there, and that's why I had Gobert as, one of the forwards or whatever. But I think initially I had Donovan Mitchell and Steph Curry in the backcourt. And then I think I had Paul George listed, but I know he's got like injuries and stuff.
I just have him as a starter right now. If you don't have him as a starter, that's completely okay. It does hurt that we have like positions again. If I could bring a guard up, I would bring a guard up to be a starter, but I cannot, so I will not. Let's get to the bench. Again, I think that the Western Conference was easier than the Eastern Conference. Like, I had a bunch of players on my list that I saw as locks. And let me read them to you. Ja Moran is a lock. He was a guy that I flipped the coin for. Who should start? Donovan Mitchell or Ja Moran? And it ended up on Donovan Mitchell. Regardless, Ja Moran is a lock to be in an all-star
game. So we got Devin Booker, all right.
I need to explain to you, he just won a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we're talking about a team that has 3 7-footers. He said he's not scared. He had a game against the Nets the other night. This is a back-to-back. Nets the other night. Absolutely dominated. There's nothing that Ja Moran can't do. When Ja Moran was drafted into the league, they were like, he reminds me of Derrick Rose. Will the shot ever come around? It took Derrick Rose like a decade for him to become a plus 3-point shooter.
Did the Pelicans make a mistake with Zion?
In year number 3. He's shooting 40% from 3 on 4 attempts. That's not like he's just shooting 2 and he's getting lucky. He's shooting 4 3-point attempts a game, and he's shooting 40%. The most electric player when it comes to getting to the basket is also a dual threat from the 3. It's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous.
Like a Derrick Rose, Damian Lillard hybrid.
Entertaining player to watch in the entire NBA. The All-Star game needs that, and Ja Moran is an absolute lock. The next absolute lock for me on the bench, Devin Booker.
There we go.
Devin Booker might not have the same counting stats as he did the previous years, which is funny because Devin Booker for the I'm going to look this up really quick, but if I'm not mistaken, Devin Booker, the 2 times he has been an All-Star, he was an injury replacement. He was a guy that wasn't an actual All-Star, but somebody got injured. So here you go, D-Book. You deserve it. He has the worst counting stats since his rookie season or his second season in the NBA. But he's not. But the Suns have got to the point now where they can win games without relying on Devin Booker to drop 30,
which is great.
There's games where he decides that he wants to play.
I mean, I feel like that's the issue with Trae Young on the Hawks. Like, yeah, he puts up those crazy numbers, but like Devin Booker playing off like CP3 and like DeAndre Ayton, it's like, I don't know. It reminds me of like Kevin Love on the T-Wolves or something like that, where it's just like, like we know we can put up the numbers, but this role for him, if Devin Booker's playing like your second option or whatever at times, like you're in a really good place.
Make a little bit more. The thing that the big development in Devin Booker's career is he's shooting 6 3-pointers per game and he's shooting 41.7% from 3. Devin Booker is always a bucket. Don't get me wrong.
3-point shots always
now
been like
threes.
Little mid at times.
His 2-point attempts aren't looking as good as previous years, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that Devin Booker, a guy that has been for the last 3 seasons averaged 54% from the mid-range area, he will get back to close to 50%. I think that he will get back there. But the fact that the 3-point shot is looking so much better makes him an absolute lock, and to add on to it, he has one of the best teams in the entire league too.
There we go.
Devin Booker, lock. Next absolute lock, Rudy Gobert.
There we go. Yes, Rudy.
I saw some people have their ballots, and Rudy Gobert wasn't there, and I don't understand it.
Had him as a starter.
Is the defense of the Utah Jazz. Now, they're not one of the top 5 defenses like they were in previous years, but he is still the defense. They don't have much perimeter defense on the entire team.
Jokic was cooking on
without to Rudy Gobert and let him do his
Hassan.
thing. This man is he might still be leading the league in total dunks, and I know that I don't really say nothing for a guy that's 7-1. I don't need to. Do I need to give you the reason why Rudy Gobert is an all-star? I don't think I do at this point. That was something I was trying to pitch to y'all 4 years ago. You understand it now. He also gets a ton of screen assists. So him and Donovan Mitchell work well together. You know what I'm saying? Him and Mike Conley work well together. They're attached at the limb. They play a lot of minutes together. Next guy that was a lock to me was Karl Anthony Towns. Now, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 17-20.
I don't know if I had him or not.
And they looked really good before he went to health and safety protocol. Now, they were able to weather the ship a little bit. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But Karl Anthony Towns has always been a guy that's going to be able to give you the good counting stats. But it was like, Cat, can you win us more games? And this team has been better this year than they have in the previous however many years. What is his actual averages? 24 points per game, 50% from the field, which is better than last season. And then from 3, he's shooting 42%.
He makes great YouTube content.
And we're talking about 6 attempts from your center. And his defense isn't terrible anymore. No, he's not Rudy Gobert, but his defense ain't terrible anymore. So for me,
Rudy ain't cat offensively, so it's all good.
Since the 2018-2019 season. Wow. He was 23 years old. And I remember when GMs were polled, if you were to start your franchise with any player in the league right now, we're talking about 2018, majority of them said Karl Anthony Towns. And then I think this year or the year before, he didn't get a single vote. He's back to being an all-star caliber player. Now, he had always been an all-star talent, for sure. But he's winning more games. And like I said, it should matter, but it shouldn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But he does get the nod here. Okay, great. Now, after that, I don't have any more absolute locks. Absolute locks. You can make an argument against some of the people that I have in here and replacing them.
Maybe
100%.
Luka?
But let me read you the rest of the people that I have here. Paul George. Paul George has missed some time. Dealing outside of health safety protocol, but because of injury, I don't know his timetable. He might not even get back in time to make another push for the All-Star game, and because of that, he might not actually get in it.
Which is fine.
If I'm not mistaken, the media has to get their votes in.
We know he's All-Star caliber, so it's fine.
But I don't know when the coaches or whoever does the reserves, I don't know when they have to do there. So Paul George is a forward. The forward position in the Western Conference is a little bit lackluster, kind of similar to the East. The forward position, this is a guard-centric league, and I understand that. But the forward position is kind of weird. So, if I was going to take Paul George out because he's injured, what forward do I put there? I already said that
Wiggins.
Anthony Davis is injured. So if Anthony Davis is back, he'll be the forward I slide in there. But if he's not back, who is the other forward? You have Kristaps Porzingis.
Wiggins or Ingram, I guess.
He's averaging good stats. And he was able to continue to let the team be okay while Luka was out. Who is the other forward I have on my list? Brandon Ingram deserves some type of recognition. I don't know if injury replacements have to fit the position. That is something I don't know. But if they don't, great. If they do, I don't know. Let's talk about my 2 wild card spots.
So we got Paul George.
Wildcard spot number 1 is Christopher Emmanuel Paul. I think he should be a lock, but I can understand if you're saying that he isn't. He's not having the same statistical season as he had in the recent years, but he's still the quarterback on one of the best teams in the league. His counting stats look like 14 points per game, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 48% from the field, and only 31% from 3, which is absolutely terrible for Chris Paul, who's been a career 37% three-point shooter. So this is a down year from 3. It's like Devin Booker took the three-point shooting out of Chris Paul. But I would assume
he's gonna have Luka or Damian.
His free throw percentage is even down. I never really even noticed that. But Chris Paul has an argument to be an all-star replacement, or not all-star replacement, all-star wild card spot. And then the last guy's a guy that has also missed time, but I think that he is similar to Bradley Beal in the sense that he's going to play his way back into it. And that's Luka Doncic. Since he came back from his injury, he had
I like the team. I like the team.
Double-double in both games.
I like it.
He had like a 15-assist game. Luka Doncic is an all-star talent. It just sucks that he missed so much time and that the Dallas Mavericks started off kind of slow, because usually a guy that will be a starter, but since he missed time and since he started off out of the gate kind of out of shape and slow, he's more of a wild card for me this season. Right now. But regardless, he is an all-star. Let's talk about the snubs, because there are many. As you can see, I did not add Damian Lillard to my all-star ballot. And if he wasn't the all-star game, if you have him in the all-star game, I'm not saying you're wrong. Because he started off very slow. But in the last month or so, he's completely got it together. The only problem is, I guess I'm kind of picking and choosing when this matters as I'm talking about it. But the team being so damn bad is a knock on.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same like Bradley Beal.
Because honestly, the team came out the gate struggling, and if he was playing better,
because let me look up the record for. Yeah, Portland's 14-23. Okay, so I mean, like, at least the Wizards are like at 500 at least. So, because like Beal started off slow and got really good, and that's kind of what Damian Lillard's been doing. But like Damian, they're not winning games. So, I think that's an okay thing to say.
I don't think they're in the place that they are right now. I know that the defense is god awful, and part of that is Damian Lillard for sure. I mean, he's a focal point guy. He's the guy that's guarding other guards. You want his defense to be better. But if he was an all-star, I'm not saying that they're wrong for having him. You know what I'm saying? But he's not on my ballot, man. It's tough to say. Damian's one of my favorite players to watch, for sure. But it's tough to not.
Other guys are more deserving.
Even somebody on Twitter
that's
was like,
okay.
Hey, if Damian on your ballot, it's going to be a problem. And I said, hey, get ready for some problems, man.
Yeah, have a problem.
Get ready for some problems. I think that every guard that I had over him have had a better season. Have had a better season than him.
100%. Like, you literally can't just say Damian Lillard just because his name Damian Lillard and you like him a lot. Like, that's just not fair to other players. Like, that's actually high respect right there for Kenny. Just like, being able to like say that and stuff, because Damian definitely is like one of those like highly praised players all the time. And yeah, like fact of the matter, the team's struggling, and like all the guys he has on here, I think they deserve over Damian.
Right now, every guard that I named over him has had a better season. He might be the first one off the list when it comes to replacements if a guard were to get injured, but yeah, everyone is.
Yeah, I could talk like CP3 Damian, I guess.
And I mean, really wanted to put this guy on my ballot. It was DeJounte Murray. And I know there are going to be Spurs fans like, man, we get snubbed again. And I honestly think he will. And not just from my ballot. I think from the overall NBA, I think DeJounte Murray is going to get snubbed. He's averaging about 18 points per game.
He's going to get snubbed for the exact reason that DeMar DeRozan is listed as a shooting guard. And that's because he was on the Spurs. Like, I hate to say it, but I think Spurs fans could even agree with that, where it's like, man, like, why does our team not get respect? And that's it.
About 9 assists. I'm rounding up for him a little bit. And 8 rebounds, 44% from the field, 34% from 3. He is fun to watch. His defense is maybe not at all defensive caliber like it was early in his career, but he's still a good defender. And
especially after all the damn injuries.
The Spurs are a weird team because even though they're sitting at the 11th seed, they're on a 3-game losing streak right now. But the last time I checked, they had a positive point differential, so they should be winning more games than what they are. But they're just not. And it's not a knock for DeJounte to not have him. But again, similar to what I said about Lillard, I just think the other guards on the list deserve it more at this point. And then another guy that was snubbed was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah, Shai's been hooping, man. Shai's been hooping. My boy Cone asked if I was pushing the SGA agenda. Unfortunately, I'm not. It's hard for me to have him over the other guards in the league. Now, if I'm looking across the league, some other people that might deserve to get some nods.
Valanciunas?
It's not many, man. It's not many. The Kings don't have a player that deserves to have it. I gave it to LeBron. I don't think the Lakers, other than Anthony Davis, deserve another one. I already said that Brandon Ingram is in conversations. The Rockets don't deserve one. Shai got his nod. It's tough, man. It's tough. Those are my 12 players.
I think it's a good list.
Those are my
you
12
backed it up.
players on each conference to make it.
Okay, guys. So let's say that I don't think he's gonna make any changes last second, but I guess I want to know if I.
Yeah, man. This is tough, man. I spent the last couple days doing it. It's not the perfect list at all by any means.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't think a perfect list exists because you literally can make a case for so many different players and stuff. I think it's a perfect list in the sense of like defending and backing up the points. I don't think anybody can argue against this list. Like, you might switch things up and put other players, but like this right here isn't like, oh, like this is like a bad list. Like, no, this is really good. So I'm cool with it. What y'all think? Let me know in the comment section below. Link to Kenny for real in the description below. Obviously, do we got their channel King of the Fourth Quarter. That's all we got. Peace out, my friends.